Today we are going to cook a typical Italian favorite, lasagna. This lasagna does require some time and preparation, but it is a family favorite and certainly delicious. For this recipe you will need 450 grams of Italian sausage, 340 grams of ground beef, preferably lean, 80 grams of chopped onion, a clove or two of garlic, a variety of Italian spices, fennel, thyme, oregano and salt, freshly diced parsley, 15 grams. A tube of tomato concentrate paste, tomato passata, 2 cans of tomatoes, half a cup of water, Parmesan cheese, mozzarella, ricotta, and an egg, as well as your lasagna sheets. Start off by cooking your onions until they are translucent with your garlic. Now add your sausage and your ground beef. I'm just going to take my meat out of the sausage casing and brown it with the onions. I think the secret to this recipe is the Italian sausage because it gives the bolognese sauce such nice flavor. Add in your ground beef and brown all the meat. Guys, I forgot to mention in the ingredients that you did also need 25 grams of sugar, and this is to help add a nice flavor to your tomatoes to take away some of that bitterness. So I'm just going to add this now while I'm adding my tomatoes. These are whole tomatoes, but you can also use crushed tomatoes. They simmer for quite a long time, so they do break up a lot. Then I was trying to think how we would call this in English, and I'm guessing probably in your country the closest thing to this would be like a plain tomato pasta sauce. It's a very smooth look, velvet consistency. It is not ketchup. Add your tomato paste. If you only get it in cans, then 2 of the 30-gram cans would be sufficient. So about 60 grams of this. It doesn't really matter, more or less. I think the more richer and stronger the tomato flavor, the nicer the bolognese sauce. Add your chopped parsley, as well as your Italian seasoning. About a pinch of each, as well as some salt and pepper. Leave this to simmer for about an hour and a half on a low temperature setting. We want the tomato to become nice and rich, a strong concentrate of flavors. So we really need to leave it to simmer for as long as possible. Come and stir it every now and again so it doesn't catch or burn on the bottom. While it's simmering, add your half cup of water. Just a little hint, I often like to just take my half cup, rinse it in the can so I can get a little bit more of that juicy tomato flavor. This one as well, because we want this to be as delicious and rich with tomato flavor as possible. This recipe replaces your standard bechamel sauce with a ricotta based sauce. If you don't like ricotta or you can't buy it where you are, you can use a standard bechamel white sauce. You can buy it or you can make it yourself. I am, however, going to be making this lasagna with the ricotta. So transfer your ricotta into a glass bowl. It's lovely and soft and fresh. Look at this beautiful Italian ricotta. I am going to add just a pinch of salt and 1 egg. Mix it all together, and this is my cheese sauce. I will also be layering this with Parmesan as well and mozzarella, but I will talk you through that in the later steps. So while your meat and sauce is simmering for an hour and a half on a medium temperature, just to repeat, uncovered, you can quickly whip this together, set it aside, and finish cooking your sauce. Look how nice and creamy this is. Delicious. Now that your bolognese sauce has a lovely rich flavor and it's been reduced quite a bit, you are now ready to do the assembly of the lasagna. Your lasagna sheets may require pre-cooking. However, I am using fresh pasta lasagna sheets. I love these things because they're just so easy and they taste delicious and they are super fine, super thin. Okay, in terms of cheese, I said we'd talk about this a little bit later. Well, the later is now. This is our ricotta mixed with the egg. I also did add about 1/4 cup of milk just to make it a little more runny. If you prefer it more firm, then don't add the milk, but I prefer it a little bit softer. Then you will need mozzarella or really any cheese that you like in your lasagna that you can find, and Parmesan, a lot of this. So we have 3 cheeses in our lasagna. Okay, to start, I am just going to do a very thin layer of meat at the bottom, just so that the sheets don't stick to the pan. Then we're going to lay our first sheet of pasta and add some cheese. Covering your lasagna on the edges so that it doesn't dry out in the oven. Harry has been hanging around. He is a hungry dog. Do you think this lasagna is for you? Do you think you're like Garfield the cat? Okay, then I always sprinkle a bit of Parmesan. This is all part of the cheese layer. And I lay randomly a few pieces of mozzarella. Some meat. I prefer to do thinner layers and have more layers, so lots of layers of pasta and lots of cheese layers. Once you have finished the assembly of your lasagna, I have about 12 layers of pasta in here. Put it into the oven at 375 degrees Fahrenheit. That is approximately 190 degrees Celsius. And cook it for 30 minutes, more or less. If you are left with any of the bolognese sauce, cook up a bit of pasta, throw that into it, and it makes a delicious meal like that as well. The The lasagna is done and it smells delicious. Quite a big portion, enough to feed your family. Remember to like, share and subscribe. Try this lasagna. Tell us what you think. Enjoy. Bon appetit. And before I forget, the recipe is pasted down below.
Have a pleasant trip aboard this ship of fools. Have a pleasant trip aboard this ship